in the United States, over 30% of our population that's 50 and older is single, and I suspect it's similar in other parts of the world as well. Yet if you look at the resources, the educational material available for retirement planning, financial planning for people that are single, it really lacks. A lot of it assumes people are married. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about the 5 things that single people need to think about as they're preparing for retirement. So let's jump in, let's go for a walk and talk about this. And you know, I think the number one enemy can be for single people is just feeling isolated. And you know, for some of us, we'd rather be alone than be in a relationship that's not positive, that's not enduring, that's not lifting us up. And I get that. But in order to get those types of relationships, we have to invest time, we have to invest effort to build relationships with new people and new friends. So my first piece of advice, my first thing that I would suggest is be very cautious about isolating yourself and make some decisions in life as you're making trade-offs. Let's say you're going to move after you retire. Give a lot of considerations to the social aspects of where you're going. Is where you're going to move, is it a social environment? Are the people there the types of people that you vibe with, that you enjoy doing similar things? For instance, I live in a ski town full time, and you know, I enjoy mountain biking, I enjoy trail running, I enjoy skiing. And those are things that my neighbors have in spades. And the other thing is almost all of us have moved from somewhere else to live in the town that we live in. So we've made the decision that, you know, in outdoor life, for me, I'm not saying this is right for everybody, but these are my people. This is my tribe. I vibe with my community, and whatever your thing is, I encourage you to find a community like that and to incorporate it, not just finding the right house that you want to live in, not just, you know, what are the economics of the state? Do they have state income tax? And all those things are important. But I really want you to put near the top of the list, you know, the social aspects of the thing, because multiple studies have shown that it's the social aspects that lead to happiness, particularly for single people. So where you live is critical. Another thing is be cautious of financial anxiety. Research shows that 1/3 of Americans have financial anxiety, but with this group of single people, the financial anxiety is about 50% of the people. 50% of the people report having financial anxiety when they're single over the age of 50, as opposed to 1/3 of the general population. So, and I think part of that is, you know, you've got one salary, you don't have the same safety net, right? You have other freedoms, you have other benefits of being single, but you don't have the financial safety net of having 2 savings accounts, of having 2 incomes as you're preparing. So the financial anxiety, and I think with financial anxiety, what you do to overcome that is confidence. I think it's particularly important for single people to have a plan, a financial plan, a retirement plan, and have confidence in it. This is not something that most of us should be doing on our own. Yes, you've got the intellectual capabilities to do it, but a financial advisor, and admittedly I'm biased, but a financial advisor has helped hundreds of families, has guided hundreds of families through retirement, and they've seen things that may not be on your radar screen. And I want you to have as much confidence and as much clarity as possible with your financial plan. So financial anxiety is the issue, and one of the ways to address that is by having confidence and having clarity in your plan. Okay, that was the second one. The third one is regarding Social Security. If you were married for over 10 years, you have a choice. You can file for Social Security you can still file for Social Security, assuming that you're not remarried. You can still file for Social Security as if you were married, as long as you were divorced and you haven't remarried, and you had to have been married at least 10 years. So look up on the Social Security website, but I want you to know, don't forget, just because you're divorced, let's say you were married for 20 years, you still likely can file for benefits based on your spouse's track record. I know for sure if you get remarried, then that goes away, but if you haven't remarried, you can do that. Okay, on to some more practical things. For many of us, if we got sick, if we had a stroke and we couldn't write checks to pay our mortgage and things like that, our spouse, depending on how your bank accounts are set up, but our spouse is kind of our backup, right? And if you're single, you don't have a spouse, obviously, as a backup. So it's particularly important to have a financial and a healthcare proxy, a power of attorney for both of those. And the way to do that is to hire an attorney. They're not complex. It doesn't have to be crazy expensive to get one together. You can do it online yourself, but it's important. So I'd advise, actually, I think it's worth the modest investment it's going to take. These are very simple documents for an attorney to put together. The other thing is, particularly when it comes to banks, they like to see a recent power of attorney. So if you did this 5 years ago, even though legally, the documents are in place and maybe you have a friend or a relative that would be your financial power of attorney, the bank's going to be uncomfortable the older that document is. Certainly once you get past 12 months, the banks are going to be uncomfortable. I'm not saying your bank won't comply, but I can tell you I have seen banks say, yes, this is a legitimate power of attorney, but it's too old. We're not going to accept it. Even if it's just 14, 18 months old. I've seen it where it's 4, 5, 6 months old and the bank says we're not going to accept it. So just know that that's a potential. Okay, and then as we get older, a healthcare proxy of attorney, a financial proxy of attorney is something that hopefully doesn't happen until we get older. There's other things that happen as we get older as well that we need to be aware of, and that's just life happens. So I think it's good to have somebody to check in with on a regular basis as you get older, and just let them know, hey, I'm doing okay. I'm doing fine, and maybe you check in with them every couple days, just say hello, so that in the back of your mind, if something happened and you got sick, somebody knows that they haven't heard from you, and somebody's gonna check in on you and make sure you're okay. And related to that, as we get older, and people my age are gonna chuckle at this, but I do think it's important. My mother, who's in her 80s now, so she's older, but she has one of these, and it's one of the emergency alerts, the help, I've fallen and I can't get up commercial. And while we all chuckle at that, if we did fall and we broke our hip, it would really be nice if we had and we couldn't get up and we're in our late 70s, 80s, 90s. It's important to have something where you can get help, where you can alert people, where you're not just lying there helplessly on the floor wondering how long am I going to be here. So I hope this has been helpful. I also know that this video up here will be helpful, which talks about if you're in your 50s and your 60s, it's go time. This is your last chance to retire early. So I'll see you in that video. Thanks for watching this one. Bye-bye.